It's Monday night, and considering the Kenny Tete story that came out a little bit earlier today, it feels right to do a little live this evening. Now, this is the only time I'm going to mention this. My Wi-Fi bar is showing one bar for anyone watching. Okay, it's gone up to two now. Anyone watching, if it's too jittery, it's not done yet, is it? No, of course not. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it, Fred. So anyone watching that you're like, yeah, you're coming across really really thingy, really badly, then just let me know. And I will say one thing: I'm feeling slightly ropey, like hungover from a really silly night last night. So if I start to feel a bit, because usually those hangovers kick in the evening after the morning as well. So I'm feeling a slightly ropey, so I might not go for too long, and kind of want to get just sort of just chill and just not have to speak to anyone because I'm very I feel a bit nauseous at this current moment in time. Hello, welcome to everyone watching. Let's do a little live, probably not for too long, but let's talk Kenny Tete, baby. Kenny Tete, whoa. Okay, so welcome along. What does everyone think of this then? So it's not done. Let's get the tweet up. That would have been actually a good way to start, a good way to prepare for this. Let's get the tweet up from Fabrizio Romano. Look, Fabrizio, I know we've had our run-ins with me telling you to apologise after you said that the Manon Solomon deal wasn't happening, and then he said it was, which is obviously was really silly of me and immature, but it was also quite funny at the same time, and that was a few years ago. Okay, so here's the tweet from Fabrizio Romano in question. Understand Fulham are now closing in on the agreement with Kenny Tete over new contract. Good. Formal steps still needed, but Fulham now confident after Everton proposal almost accepted. And look, we've had our fun with Everton fans. Sounding good. Thank you very much, Dwayne. Um, Obviously, Everton, we've had our fun with them. They've obviously come back with what they need to be saying and stuff. I got no beef with Everton fans. I think it's I think you're right, Football Liam. I think that it does save us a lot of money. If someone had told me 2 months ago you're going to be doing a live stream because because Kenny Tete's signing a new contract, for me I would be like, that doesn't really seem like a worthy of a live stream. But because this summer's been quite slow so far, nothing really has happened. It does feel as if it is quite big news. Give me just 2 seconds. Sorry. Sorry about that. I am trying to get some informations about some stuff. Look, it's been a slow start to the summer. No signings in as of yet. Rumors will be coming out of nowhere tomorrow. Yeah, I think this is an interesting one because July 1st, a lot of people believe that that's when business can start. I don't necessarily think that was the case. However, I think July 1st we're going to see. First of all, as of right now, as of midnight, Tete is no longer contracted with the club. TC Tom Kenny is no longer contracted with the club. But obviously, the news of Kenny Tete being close to signing a new contract is encouraging. Slightly worried that in 3 weeks it's pre-season. We need signings for Fulham. I think it's more likely August 31st. Yeah, of course, like all the sort of predictable, inevitable sort of comments about deadline day are there. And at this moment in time, obviously, we haven't really done much. But there are plenty of things. There's about 5 or 6 players we can talk about being rumoured to Fulham. We start with Rocco Wrights, Matt Ryan, Zinchenko. I had these all in my head the other day, earlier. Reece Nelson and somebody else I mentioned earlier seem fairly promising, for sure. I mean, Harvey Elliott probably won't happen. McAtee probably won't happen. Rocco Wrights is definitely a goer. Oh yeah, the Gots pick. So I'm expecting Ornstein to come back with another tweet regarding Romulo, because essentially, because we had that bid rejected, we're going to go back in again, I would imagine, and that probably will mean that maybe they'll accept, maybe they won't. We got linked to another striker today from Ghent as well, so. But there's a lot of stuff flying about. It usually does this time of year, and I'll just keep banging the drum, and it's not even my drum to bang. It's Joe Sansom's, who basically said every time something was close. Sorry, every time something was posted, i.e., something was tweeted last summer, it was at the point of near completion, i.e., CeShon, here we go, Cuenca, here we go, Anderson, it was like far down the line, and I think another Ornstein tweet sort of confirmed it. I think we might have seen 3 Ornstein tweets from Anderson. Smith Rowe was a little bit of a. I remember right at the start of the summer, last summer, it was like Emil Smith Rowe, one of Fulham's key targets for the summer, and then obviously we signed him subsequently. He looks very promising. I thought the next bid would be in soon, and maybe it's coming. I mean, maybe while we're live on stream right now, I have tweet notifications on for Ornstein, and you know, when actually when Ornstein tweeted the Fulham news, I didn't get it. Sometimes Twitter just doesn't send you notifications. I didn't get the notification, but we'll see. Okay, so what does everyone think of the Kenny Tete news? It's obviously great. Does it mean that that's the end of the right back search? Does it mean Bellanova's off? Does it mean that Carl Walker-Peters, we won't be speaking to him, but I know we were looking at Ben Johnson as well. I personally wouldn't feel as if Ben Johnson would be a very good signing, but what would be a good signing is Kenny Tete. And look, this time last week, what was it, Sunday when it was tweeted, we thought he was going to Everton. And then I think on the Wednesday or the Tuesday, the Wednesday, or Thursday even, Fulham were back in the race. We'd put a contract down. I think it probably, for family point of view, would make more sense that he wants to stay at Fulham. And I think Silva's probably called him up. And I can understand the appeal of going to Everton at this current stage. They're definitely on an upward trajectory under David Moyes. We saw that when he came in. They've got the new stadium. Coleman's sort of, signed a new one-year deal, but he's not going to be necessarily the first choice. So Tete's going to be there. But I'm glad. Everton was just convinced they were going to sign him, and so they should have been. When you verbally agree a contract, it's basically not done and dusted. But this is an incredible track record, isn't it? Just yeah. No, I think no. You're right. The Everton factor is basically. It was the initial. Sorry, the initial tweet about Everton was a warning to Fulham. Essentially, it was this is agent work. Agents work incredibly hard at putting their clients' clubs under pressure. And actually, Everton, I don't think it was a smokescreen because I think there was probably a genuine offer there. But what has happened there is they've gone, well, why don't you mention Fabrizio? Why don't you mention another? Because it's gone from no other journalist. True, Tete News is great, but it shouldn't have gone this far. Okay, so TCD's gone very quiet. We'll talk about TC in a second. My point being is that when I've lost my train of thought, Everton probably did offer him a contract, or maybe did, and then you see Fulham or you see like the fans see that Tete gets linked with a club who's very similar in terms of before all the Everton fans jump on, in terms of where we are right now, in terms of mid-table team, and Fulham fans are going to look at that and go, I can't believe that he's actually going to Everton. I know whatever the Everton fans in 1995 or whatever. It's boring. It's getting actually incredibly boring now. And then it puts the ball in Fulham's court. So no wonder we came back. I didn't expect, because sometimes I take things at face value and I went, oh, well, that's that then. And actually, it was a play. And it's just so funny and quite unfortunate that this has happened time and time again to Everton, where Fabrizio Romano, he's tweeted about Luis Diaz. He tweeted about, help me out here. I saw the screenshot earlier. Anyway, loads of players, 4 or 5 players who have been like close, or Everton have been close to signing, and they just never have. I do believe there was a contract on the table from Everton, so I've been told. But because Fabrizio put that out, i.e. via Tete's agent, then Fulham have gone, oh, shit, we need to We need to keep him. And Silva's probably on the phone to whoever at the club and gone, have you seen this? He's off to Everton. Like, why can't we just? He's our player at this moment in time. Let's put a contract in. So Ben's comment is completely correct. Ben's comment is completely correct. Kudos was close as well. That was it. Yeah, Kudos as well. TC News gone very quiet. Yeah, and there's an interesting one about TC because on the day on the 10-year anniversary, which was I think Friday or Thursday, might be Thursday. He didn't retweet it. He didn't repost it on his Instagram. And usually TC is quite a social media savvy sort of person, and he has still subsequently posted a couple of things since that day, just about his personal life. And I'm sort of sitting here thinking, what's the situation there? What is the situation there with TC? I know we spoke about it last week. I think he wants to stay. TC signing one more year? I hope so. Because as of tomorrow, he's not contracted at the club. It'll be the first time in just over 10 years that he won't be contracted at the club, which is actually quite a daunting prospect. I didn't really think about it like that. Technically, he'll have no club. So technically, it would be a second stint if he was signing a new contract because his contract's up. It's a bit of a messy one. It's a bit of a messy situation. I don't know whether it's they're haggling over wages or it's the role that he doesn't like. Doesn't think he's going to be playing enough football. I don't know. I don't actually think the Wrexham thing was real. Is there a fly here? Just saw a fly. And when my window's open, it's absolutely baking today. I mean, it's so hot. The fan's been on all day, watching the tennis, working from home. It's been lovely, but it's Diego hotter. It's absolutely boiling. I'm going to have a sip of water. 1 second. That is good. I must have drank about 5 or 6 pints of water today. Do we still go for additional cover? Injuries that side of a problem? Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, technically you want two players per position. So to have, and actually even then, because technically right now, Castagna's out and he won't be ready for pre-season. He might be ready for players back on the 14th. So Mark Silva said 7 to 10 days. So he actually won't go to Portugal as it stands. He won't go to Portugal as it stands because he won't be fit in time unless he has a miraculous recovery. I've seen some of his posts on Instagram that he's sort of getting back to like working in the gym and stuff like that, which is great to see. But technically, right now, I've said it before, we don't have a senior right back to take to pre-season unless Kenny Tete baby signs on the dotted line before we go to pre-season, which is very possible, and it's the whole reason we're doing this stream because it seems like it's close. And then we've got Devin Tantum. So Devin Tantum basically will go to pre-season with Fulham. Will probably play quite a few minutes. I'd imagine he'd play across the 2 games. Might be, I don't know, might be 3. I'm not sure. Then he might play 90 minutes. He might play 45 or whatever. The plan is, I would imagine, is that Devin Tanton plays some games, gets match fit, ready for the season, and then just before the season starts, when Castagna's back and he's fit and ready to go, or even if he's not, at some point, at the stage where Castagna and Tete, who hopefully is going to sign, are rotating with each other, then we're going, okay, well, it's the end of the window, it's toward deadline day, it's August 31st, whatever. Devin Tantum, now you got out on loan. And I think League Two was great for him. He was brilliant at Chesterfield, got injured and had to come back. So I think League One would probably be where I would send Devin Tantum. And then obviously that's 46 games, hopefully injury-free, playing right back. He needs to join a club where he's going to be playing every week. So yeah, that's the right back situation. So do I think we're going to answer in a very long-winded way, do I think we're going to sign another right back if we sign Tete? Probably not. Maybe. Because if Castagna's actually not ready for the season, would Silva trust Tantum and Tete? I certainly don't think we'd be signing Bellanova. because that was almost like a if worst case scenario Tete leaves, which at that time was so. Since this Tete stuff's come alive, I haven't really heard anything regarding Bellanova. I haven't heard anything at all. Oh, that's interesting. No news on TC. Tamori. Wait, hold on a second. Aha! Okay, so Fulham Fan News has just put out a tweet. I've been looking for this all day because Plettenberg, basically, I got told that Plettenberg was going to put out the story on Rocco Wrights this evening, of which he has, but he hasn't tweeted it or anything like that. So basically, Fulham have concrete interest in Gladbach midfielder Rocco Wrights. There's no mention of West Ham, according to other sources, leading the race. Oh, there's the tweet. There's the tweet. I mean, I initially put it out, but they didn't get credited for it, which is fair enough, I suppose. Sky Sports, they probably don't know about little old me. And then there's a rumor going around 21 hours ago. Sebastian Vidal, according to my information, West Ham are in advanced talk to sign Rocco Wrights. An ex-West Ham employee who's like the best when it comes to West Ham has rubbished that rumor. So actually, I don't know why someone's just tweeted me saying Tamori soon, and I have not heard of Tamori at all. I mean, I know who he is, but I haven't heard him going to Fulham. So yeah, the Rocco Wrights one was an interesting one. So like I said, I was told earlier today that the story would go live. I then tried to I was doing my job and trying to get credited for the story. And obviously that hasn't happened, but it's not that deep. It's not that deep. I initially put out it, which is cool. I might give it a little retweet actually, just to boost my own tweet, but it's just not that deep. Let's find it first. Romano tweeting about fucking hell, sorry. Lionel Messi. It's just cool. So yeah, the Rocco Wrights one, I mean, he looks a player. So basically, when he's front and centre playing in the under-21s final, that's when I found out about this news. And putting it out there, obviously, people are going to be interested because they're probably watching the game. I don't know about you, but I was watching the game. My friend's being funny. Okay, so let's get on the TC thing then. He's technically not employed by the club come midnight, which is so weird. You know how Willian had like 3 different spells at the club because his contract kept expiring and then we renewed it. It's gonna be like that. Although it obviously won't be like no one's gonna say, oh, Kenny had 2 different spells at Fulham because technically he did, but it depends if he signs. But unless he signs in the next few hours, unless we get an absolute bomber from the club or someone, I've heard that basically it's not close. So as it stands, he'll leave the club as it stands. But I don't know. And yeah, there's some other stuff to talk about. Romulo looks decent. Looks like an interesting one. Looks exciting. Let's do some of the comments actually. Lovely content. Thanks for keeping us up to date. Thank you. No, thank you. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure to do this. I'm looking forward to the next few weeks because I think that July is going to be busy. It should be busy. Romola looks bright. If we do sign him, he will look good. I agree. I love Tete, but Bellanova might actually be better than him. Yeah, but then would you rather spend like 40 million or 35 million or 30 to 35 million on a new right back who then would change the whole system around because he's a right wing back, we'd have to play a 5, or just sign Tete for no money and use that other money, use the money you would have spent on Bellanova on another position? I technically would rather that. I know the point. We've had Tete for a while. They've been 6th season, and to have a new player in a new position is quite exciting. But the whole fanfare and panic around losing Tete says a lot about what he brings to the table, which is a lot of quality. And I know he's injury prone, whatever. But if he can at 29 go a whole season without injury, that's going to be very valuable to us. And obviously he will rotate with Castagna. I just feel as though this is the right way to go. What would happen if we signed him? Signed who? What would happen if we signed who? He'd become a Fulham player, I suppose. And yeah, look, I mean, this isn't the most groundbreaking of the sort of news, but it's quite nice to know that if there was pressure put on by Everton, if there was like there's a contract here on the table for you, it's nice to know that he's stuck with Fulham. Sorry, it's so hot. I'm gonna have to take another glass of water. It's really really hot. Crikey, but that's not very nice sound in the microphone. Actually, I should probably mute myself. The German under-21. What would happen if we signed him? What would that mean for the club? I mean, it would. I suppose it would mean we have another midfield option. I suppose it. Well, you act as if like, obviously, I'm taking your comment seriously, but like, what would it mean for the club? Is like a well, it would just mean we have him at the club. I mean, I don't really know how to answer that question. It would offer midfield depth, I suppose. It would put question marks over TC, and it would put question marks over Harrison Reed. Yeah, do you know what's actually quite interesting? Like, apart from the Rodrigo Muniz stuff, there's not many rumours circulating about, or it's been at the front and centre. Actually, we can talk about Callum Osman as well in a second. There's not been many rumours of players departing apart from Rodrigo. And considering where I think the squad is going to shape up and look for next season, I would have thought by now there'd be some interest in. This Everton fans back. I think you commented on my last stream. That God Tete is staying at Fulham. Don't want him at Everton. Listen, fair play. What was I saying? Yeah, there's like I'd imagine that there'd be rumours already. I mean, there's been a couple for Pereira, but nothing that's going to set the world alight. Harrison Reed as well. I mean, these aren't players who are definitely going to leave, but I just think there is going to be a change in the midfield, a change in the way our midfield looks for next season. And yeah, I mean, obviously that's good. You don't want to lose players, but also we need to get the average age of the squad down. And signing a 23-year-old midfielder is a pretty good way to go about it. If you were going to get rid of I don't know how old Harrison Reed is, but he must be in his 30s now, 30 maybe 31. And that sounds disrespectful. I've already spoken a lot about how much Harrison Reed has given to the club, and he's been absolutely sensational at the club. And he's probably looking at the situation going, well, I didn't get any minutes last season. I hardly got any minutes last season. I got injured. I was unlucky to get injured at Villa as well because that was the season over. But he's thinking, I need to be playing regular football. What's with the repost, Jack? Any update? No, as in, like, I reposted the rumour of rights because now it's come out on Sky Germany. And, you know, I broke... To be fair, I was told to break the story, to be fair. So it's not my exclusive, which is why I didn't put exclusive because it was someone else passing it on to me. But I'm just reposting it to get it back in the domain, out in the domain on my timeline because basically that rumor is now starting to come alive, which is fantastic news because, you know, it's very, very in this current climate, it's very difficult to trust people. And I'm not talking about in the job that I'm in. I'm talking about in general in life. It's hard to trust people with people's intentions. We live in a world where I sound like fucking Scott Parker. Sorry, live in a society where there is a lot of fake news. So essentially, when it comes to when it comes to Fulham and my job, which I take incredibly seriously, I'm very careful with what I post and when I post it and what I post. Like, even I wasn't particularly happy with when I posted the Rocco Wrights because I'd had a few glasses of wine and it didn't even make sense when I tweeted it. I had to edit the tweet, which is really silly. So that was silly. However, yeah, no. So like, you've got to be really careful because like, there are obviously Fulham pages, or there's a Fulham page that is very, very well, like does very, very well, but it posts everything in terms of it posts all the stories, whether they're from sources that aren't very strong to sources that are very strong, and obviously that's because they're a different sort of page, and they just want to obviously get the news out there, which is fine, but I try and post news that I think is going to be a goer. As in, when I say a goer, I mean like news that I think there's something behind it. So I'm quite careful. and you've got to basically trust the people you're talking to, and I do, which is great, because if you're unsure, that's a problem. You need to. It takes time. It takes like if you meet someone new, it takes time to trust them because you don't know. You don't know about them. Like friends. I've had friends for years, and I'm friends with them because I trust them. And I'm friends with them because they're good people. And there are people in the world that aren't good people, and they're out to get you, or they're out to. I don't know. But this is not the point. This is not the point of the stream to sit here and talk about. But my point being is, I what was the point? The point is that I'm just very careful with what I do, and when I receive information that I think is worth going for, then I go for it. Which is why you don't see a tweet from me every day saying Fulham are in for this person, Fulham are in for this person, because sometimes I retweet stuff just to get initial interest out there, like the stuff from the Sun today. But in terms of me being like Fulham are interested in this person or Fulham are close to this, it's obviously stuff I want to do, but you've got to be very very careful doing it because if it's wrong, you look silly. I think that was the whole point I was making. London's Original, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Charlie's doing a fantastic job, and he's such a nice guy. So subscribe to his channel because he's going to do some big bits in the upcoming season. Would you say Wright's our most exciting rumour so far this summer? Yeah, I suppose it is in terms of the profile of player, the sort of player he is. The way he played the other night was very very good. Hasn't been too the rumours actually at face value haven't been too exciting. I missed a comment here. With Elliot rumours, what other former Fulham player would you welcome back? That's a really good question. Former Fulham player I'd welcome back, who's currently playing, maybe like Ademola Lookman. I know Arsenal have been linked with him, so Ademola Lookman for me would be pretty cool because obviously he's come on to do fantastic things since he left Fulham. And he was brilliant at Fulham. Apart from that bloody penalty against West Ham, he was fantastic. Yeah, so that Rocco Wrights is exciting stuff. Paziti, I thought that Paziti looked good last pre-season, and he scraped. I thought that Paziti looked good last pre-season, seeing that he has scrapped the contract. I actually. Are we going to release the kit? No comment. No comment. I thought that Paziti. There's some conflicting rumours going on. I actually need to do some digging. That was my job that's on my to-do list for tomorrow, to do some Paziti digging, because there are some conflicting reports saying that we have an option on his contract. He doesn't want to trigger it. He wants to leave. I actually don't know what's going on. I think we've already seen Paziti in the team, haven't we? But I just don't think that currently he's going to. I don't think he's going to get into that team. I actually think that he's one of them ones who's just slightly missed the boat. I think he probably would suit a permanent move away. However, I would like it if he was to sign a new contract and we to loan him out, because you never know. Suddenly you have one season, you look like an incredible player. We then have the contract. He's contracted the club. We can then he comes back from his loan and put him into the team. So you just never know. Paziti is a weird one where there's been was he at pre-season to make up the numbers, or is there genuine interest that Silva actually wants to use him? Because the youngsters who went to pre-season last season, okay, yeah, we didn't have the fullest of squads. We had King, Paziti, Asenga. I think that might be it. Did we have Borto? I'm not sure. Silva neglects youth too much. I actually disagree with this. This is widely said, he neglects youth too much. But when he first joined the club, he put Fabio in the team straight away, and he played almost every game of the season. That's not neglecting youth, because Parker brought him through. And if Silva neglects youth too much, he would have looked at Carvalho and went, no, you can play in the under-21s. And I know the Championship's different from the Premier League, whatever, and that's obviously the point as to why Carvalho got so much since then. It's been 2-3 years. Yeah, but then I'd argue that within those 2-3 years, it was vitally important that we were to stabilise in the Premier League. So the argument being is that Silva didn't. Okay, hold on. Silva didn't use the youth as much in those opening 2-3 years in the Premier League because again it was really important that we maintain that Premier League what's the word, status. And then last season when we were like, obviously we knew we were staying up, blah blah blah, from can see both sides. No, I can understand. But then that's when Martial Godot came through, Josh King came through, and you would imagine now that because of those performances, well, obviously because of Josh King's hype and whatever, that now he's going to be a major part of the first team. So actually, it was actually really good planning from Marco to bring through Josh King and how he nurtured him into the team. And it's the same with, and the reason why Martial Godot didn't get a loan out was because we were short of wingers. So in January, when he wanted to get loaned out, I know that Watford wanted him, Plymouth wanted him, Mill wanted him. We were like, well, we can't loan him out because we've brought back Willian, but we've lost Harry Wilson, we've lost Reece Nelson. So I actually think that he doesn't neglect the youth. I think he plays it quite well. And the thing is, like, how many youth players do you want coming through at the same time anyway, without it looking like we look inexperienced on the pitch? So I think 2 coming through last season, and then Amissa got on the bench against Spurs because of injuries. That's 3. I think that's quite good going. Like how many players from the youth under 21s would you say are first team ready? As in Fulham first team ready? I wouldn't say many are. Callum Osman clearly wasn't, given he's moved, or Silva didn't see him as. Like Lamar Gordon, I don't know if he signed a contract. Godot has to get a loan this season. I agree. I think Godot would be bottom of the pecking list when it comes to the wingers if we were to bring new wingers in. And then I think that he needs to get loaned out. I agree with you, Sneds, completely. Osman obviously is going to be in the first team for Celtic, which is why he moved. Lamar Gordon, Terrell Works, like they're good, but they're not going to break in like beyond get ahead of Traore and Wilson, whatever. Chris Donald left, which was a shame. Dibley Diaz needs another loan. King, Ridgen's just too young. He just needs more experience, even in the under 21 setup. And Sassy and Missa are quite young. Tantum is ready because we've seen that, and I think Tantum. I know I said a loan earlier, but he'll be ready to play in pre-season. Asenga's probably. I want Asenga to get a loan because I want him to start coming through. That'd be really fun. Borto should be the third choice keeper. So yeah, I mean it's difficult. So the neglects youth when actually our biggest exciting prospect right now is a youth player which has been brought through. I would say he doesn't neglect youth. I said that I think he actually has been very shrewd about, and also like Savisa was like this as well when CeShon was coming through. He deliberately took him off the penalty at Newcastle because he didn't want Cess to score and get the headlines and be like 17-year-old gets hat-trick at St James's Park, who were 50-something thousand people in the stadium, top of the league. All the headlines are going to be, well, who's this 17-year-old? He said, no, you're not taking that pen. Tim Ream will take it, misses it. It's because you don't want to basically put them in the shop window before anyone sort of. And obviously, CeShon, it's his stay for the Premier League season, then we left Spurs, and now he's back at Fulham. I think there are obviously flaws with the way we've obviously complete obvious flaws, like losing loads of players on frees. But actually, since Silva's been at the club, I've been fairly pleased with how we brought through. And also, like, we were pushing for Europe. So we're pushing for Europe. And you're thinking, oh, but where are all the youth players coming from? Well, you need that experience. You need those senior players to try and qualify for Europe. Geezer's a joke. Oh, hold on. I've missed another comment. Still can't go Newcastle, the boy. Cupped his ears at St James Park at 17. That was incredibly cool. I mean, that was one of the best away games I've ever done. Right up in the gods at Newcastle. That's 16-17 season. I know we didn't go up, but that was such a great season. It was so fun. Playing some really nice football. And yeah, just amazing that TC is just not going to be contracted at the club by tomorrow. Amazing. So yeah, Callum Osman, wish him the best of luck completely. I think he's going to be really good in the SPL. And if he plays Champions League football next season, he's already there. He's made it to the top. And obviously Silva didn't see him, or maybe we offered him a contract. I think the clubs put that out today that we offered him a contract. But I reckon that the fact we're looking for a third striker before Osman even sort of was offered a contract. So basically, Osman's gone. Well, the thing is, I could have seen Osman got loaned out into the Championship, or even if we loaned him to Celtic. But then loan him to Celtic, they probably wouldn't play him enough for that to be possible. So it'd have to be an EFL loan. It just didn't work out. And the thing is, like, Fulham fans losing their minds over it, which I can completely understand because it's another one gone. But he never broke into the first team. He wasn't close to breaking into the first team, even when Muniz got injured. And I was like, well, here we go. We know that Vinicius is going to get. You can't compare PL2. In what sense? We knew that Vinicius was going to leave, so we're like, well, if Muniz is injured, then surely give Osman a chance. And Silva just went, no, we're going to go with experience and Vinicius because these games are important that we need to get the records point tally. And I think that was a very early indication when Osman's probably thinking to himself, I've actually got a chance here. Like it's hard to adapt. It's hard to gauge how they would adapt or play if the coaches don't call it. How can we? It's true. It's a very good point. And I think that when Callum saw that opportunity to potentially play in the first, because I asked Silva, I was like, your club's tweeting that Callum's training with the first team, that gave an indication that he was going to be maybe in the first team for the Southampton game. It didn't happen. And then you're like, well, was it the Southampton game? Was Muniz injured for that? Yeah, because Vinicius was on the bench, wasn't he? I can't actually remember. Maybe it wasn't the Southampton game. But anyway, towards the end of the season, and if he's found that gap and then seen that we haven't actually, he's not got picked, he's thinking, what's the point of being here then? Oh, and Vinicius is going, oh, am I going to be the third striker? No, I'm not going to be the third striker. Well, there's no point in me being here then. That's probably what he was thinking. And, Celtic, I prefer Rangers to Celtic, but I think he'll do well there. I think he'll do very well. Sneds, we have a very good. It seems like we're having a one-on-one conversation here, which I quite like. We have a very good academy and coaches. Look at some stars. Look how they shine for you. We've had got to trust their calls. Absolutely, we have a really good academy, and you've got to be really careful bringing through youth because they could burn out. Look at Bukayo Saka. He's getting an injury every season because he's played too much football. He has played too much football. If Josh King plays 25 Premier League games next season, I'm going to say that's too much. I say that's too much football for a kid that age in an intense league like the Premier League. Of course, it's fantastic. I wouldn't be devastated, but I would think that's too much for a kid of that age. But then again, you could then also flip it and say, well, hold on a second. What about if he got loaned out and played a 46-game championship season? Correct. I think that would again be too much. So maybe it's just a case of selling Josh King the dream for next season. It's got to be something like, I don't know for sure, but it's got to be something like, we want you in and around the first team every single week. We can't guarantee you're going to start loads of games, but you can make a difference. I mean, look at the Brentford game. I would literally get up that last 50 minutes of the Brentford game and just look at his role that he played in that game. He wasn't the reason we won that game, but he was part of the reason why we won that game. Set up Tete for the cross, diverted his run away from goal, and the defender tracked him, so then opened up the space for Harry Wilson to score. And you'll probably say to him, if you do that, come on 15 minutes to go, come on with 50 minutes to go in a game where there's tiring legs and you're just running around in a free roll, just causing trouble, you're going to be incredibly valuable. And then once you get, you'll play the Carabao Cup, you play the FA Cup, and you'll get your Premier League start. You'll get a Premier League start at some point, and that's where it goes from there. And then suddenly his value is just going to go up and up and up. Obviously, he needs to sign a new contract. 1 year left on the contract. That is obviously squeaky bum time. It's incredibly exciting. And I know, obviously, we haven't made any signings yet, and obviously fans are getting frustrated. And, we hit July tomorrow, and I do believe things are going to start clicking into gear once we get into July, which is tomorrow. I feel very excited about the upcoming season. I feel really excited. Palace could lose Eze and Gahey. Bournemouth are losing players. Brentford are being dismantled as well. They've lost their manager. I do not like Keith Andrews. There's no surprise that the bookies have completely. People have lumped money on Brentford to go down. They're now 4-1 to go down, or 3-1, I think. They're 4 favourites to go down above the 3 promoted teams. And Fulham have actually rose to 8-1. So we were like 5th or 6th favourite to go down, and I was like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But then we've rose because people have put more money on Bournemouth, no, not Bournemouth, on Brentford. Some money's gone on West Ham. Some money's gone on Everton as well. Let's answer this question from Caldor 40k. What do you think Fulham's ambitions are next season? I think, well, Silva said it in the press conference, is to beat the points tally. Beat the points tally of last season, which was 53 points, wasn't it? Probably have to remind myself. Oh, shit. That's the new Premier League table. We're 5th on Flash Scores. We got 54 points. Excuse me. 54. So I think it's to beat that. And if we were to beat that, I'd say we would probably finish quite high in the table. And then I think, to challenge for Europe, I think there's got to be the ambition to have a really good cup run, to just have a better season than last year, and finishing in the top half, because that was the aim, and we didn't do that. Just join any rumours. No, we're talking about Kenny Tete at the start. Now we've sort of gotten to talk about the youth. But in terms of rumours, Rocco Wright's rumours come out tonight from Sky Germany. I reported it on Saturday night. Saturday night? Yeah. And they've ran with the story, which is exciting. To be the first person to report on something and then it actually gets picked up by Sky is pretty exciting. I'm sad they didn't credit me, but I don't think they're aware that I tweeted it, because I don't have a massive account, which is fine. So I think that could be it for today. Well, what does everyone think of the Kenny Tete news? I think that's fantastic news. So as it stands, let's just say Tete signs. Let's just say he signs. How would I line up against Brighton? As it stands, it would be. Well, I suppose it would be exactly the same, because no one's gone, and only a couple of players have gone, and then there's only a couple of no one's come in. But it'd be Leno, Tete, Anderson, Bassi, Robinson, Berger, Lukic, Smith Rowe, Wilson, Iwobi, Muniz. That's how I'd go. I know Muniz is recovering from injury, so maybe it would be Raul Jimenez. But we've got to make some signings, and I think that it's going to start tomorrow. I think it's going to start. I don't say we're going to sign someone. We could, but it will start. The rumours will start. Inter 0, Fulham 1 in the Club World Cup. I just don't care about the Club World Cup at all, really. I've just been mentioned by Florian Pletterberg. No way. Florian Pletterberg has credited me the story. That is absolutely unbelievable. Well, that's really exciting. So Florian Pletterberg has just tweeted, whilst live here, yes, Fulham have already registered concrete interest in Rocco Wright, as per Jekeli FFC, and confirmed. 23-year-old central midfielder has been scouted multiple times, and his performance at the under-21s have impressed. There are many inquiries on the table, and his future is open. Gladbach want to keep him contracted until 2028. Fulham and Gladbach are not yet in contact. Oh, interesting, because I wrote they're in talks. Oh, well, that's really cool. That is really cool. Florian Pletterberg, who has 521,000 followers, biggest German reporter. The person who told me this, he was like, I think he should credit you when the story comes out. And because I saw it initially on Sky Germany and it wasn't, but actually waiting for it to come from Pletterberg himself, which I wasn't sure when he was going to tweet it. I knew it was coming tonight. But there we go. That is really exciting. That's the first time I've been credited for a story by a big old journalist. Okay. we're making waves in the world. So guys, I have to end this stream by plugging Patreon because it's my livelihood, or it's part of my livelihood. Please subscribe for £5 a month for really cool content, and we've got a huge burst of people coming through on Patreon in the last week or so, and yeah, join. It's £5 a month. I'm now, after a year in the job, really trying to work hard on getting the stories. Not only obviously reporting the thing on the pitch, but reporting stuff off the pitch. I've worked really hard this summer to try and get some stories. And yeah, please do subscribe to the Patreon. The links are in my Twitter bio. It's only £5 a month. Look, this is a pint of water, but if it was beer and you're going down the pub, it'd probably be costing you more than what I charge for a month. And I think that's fairly reasonable. I think that's a great offering. But yeah, I know that I bang on about it a lot. You have to plug your own work. It's literally the way of the world. But yeah, this is incredibly exciting. Being credited for a story is really exciting. So I'm really, really pleased. And yeah, I think that's a good way to end it. Thank you so much for watching. I think over 1,100 people have at least clicked on this stream, which is pretty cool. Sorry, let me just address this comment from Brian, because he's a very good. I'm happy for any news at all, even if it's just a bit of drama. I also think Jack is massive. I'm not massive in stature in terms of size. In terms of height. In terms of height. Oh, goodness gracious. But I'm trying to be the Fulham guy, and this is a big step in the right direction. If the Rocco Wright signing comes off, that'd be pretty fun. And he looks like a good player. Sorry, guys, I didn't want to. Self promotion is obviously something you've got to do, but the okay, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Patreon. Get me to my target of subscribers by the time the season starts, which I'm only about 12 away. So if I can get 12 in before the start of the season, which I believe I can do, and I reckon I can do that before we go to Portugal, then that'd be fantastic. Take a punt, £5 a month. That should be like a little catchphrase. But anyway, the new people in as well, they're so lovely and so brilliant. Thank you so much for watching, and come on Fulham, we'll speak on a live stream very soon, I'm sure. I believe tomorrow, someone put I'll leave this for you two guys to work out. This is how I'll leave it. Someone commented something in the stream asking a question. I didn't answer it. I know the answer, and it's it's coming, I believe. It's dropping. Let's just say that. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and come on Fulham.